Hey guys, welcome to Aken Art. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to learn how to draw. No, that title isn't a typo. I meant to say it like that because this video isn't necessarily about learning the fundamentals or mastering certain techniques, but rather how to adopt the mindset to learn, especially something as complicated and personal and intricate as art and drawing. So enjoy the time lapse that you see here on the screen and let's get into this. Okay, so let's break this down. How do you learn? How do you build up the discipline of learning? Well, I think the first thing to understand is that learning is in fact a discipline. To get into the mindset of learning, you have to establish said discipline. Learning is an activity. It's not a passive thing that just happens to you. You have to work for it. So, what is discipline? Although, you can find a handful of definitions out there, I particularly like the one that says, according to Merriam-Webster, orderly or prescribed conduct or pattern of behavior. You have to shift into the mindset of orderly conduct and pattern behavior. You have to prepare yourself to change your conduct, your habits, and usually even your lifestyle in order to learn anything. So, how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how I've done it and how I continue to do it, and what I hear repeated from other artists who are far more advanced than me. One, you have to be honest with yourself. Can you really commit to this feat? Like, is this something you can seriously take seriously? Are you prepared to reorganize your life? Is now a good time? And if you aren't there yet, no worries. There's a time for everything. But if you are there, then I think number 2 is start small. You've heard that saying that Rome wasn't built in a day, and the artist who basically painted and sculpted that city didn't do it in a day either. So pick one thing and just do that. As you become more comfortable with adding that element into your routine, add another thing, and then another, and then another. But to go from, spending 10 hours a day in front of the TV to now you're spending 10 hours a day learning color theory and perspective and maybe even researching NFTs on the side is kind of unreasonable. And number 3, I would say, is to be consistent, which I know that's everyone's favorite 2 words to hear together in the same sentence. But it's true, you have to show up for yourself on a regular and consistent basis. Better yet, you have to be mentally prepared to show up for yourself on a regular basis. And that's not easy. Some people have a really hard time truly committing to themselves. And if you want to learn anything, there's a bit of sacrifice you'll have to make. You may not have time to be that friend that always shows up for everybody else anymore. And you just have to be okay with that. As far as what I did, and I'll try to keep this brief, starting on May 31st, 2020, and I'll never forget the date, I decided to put myself on what I called at the time a crash course on learning how to draw. So, I researched what all the fundamentals of drawing are, and I consumed an embarrassing amount of YouTube videos and tutorials and all things art. And, I followed a ton of artists on all the different social media platforms. I think I even signed up for a DeviantArt account, although that did not last long, especially after reading all the reviews that, DeviantArt isn't what it used to be and yada yada. But bottom line is, bit by bit, I just soaked everything up like a sponge. But I did that just one thing at a time. I think I dedicated like 2 to 3 weeks on each subject matter. Now, I'm completely self-taught, and I know for a fact that there were holes in my initial training because I was just kind of going at it alone. But that training, helped me adapt a mindset to always be learning. I always assume, I've got it wrong and I need to go out there and discover the right way to do it. I no longer look at arts or creativity or artistic things the same. Like I've caught myself one time paying attention to things like atmospheric perspective in real life. So when they say, sacrifices have to be made, I think that's spoken from experience, and I hear a lot of other artists make the same comments. You no longer have a social life, and you don't get to hang out with friends like you used to, and you become sort of a hermit who never leaves the house. And the 2020 lockdown was a blessing for artists and all of that. And I would hear them say such things, and I'm thinking, like, that'll never happen to me. Like, it's just art. It's just drawing pictures. Like, I can juggle friendships and still be able to, dedicate 3 or more hours a day learning how to draw, especially being on lockdown and having more time on my hands. Well, it did happen to me. You do get to a point where you ask yourself, is it worth it? Like, seriously, is art and learning how to draw worth you giving up, at the very least, part of your social life? Maybe among other things. For me, I can say that it was, because I'm so happy to be where I am now with my practice. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but that's what I think it means to be, the quote-unquote self-taught artist. No, you didn't invent the wheel as far as learning art, but you did develop the mindset to learn how to draw, and you do that to yourself without seeking instruction from like an art teacher or an art school curriculum. And if you're on that journey, like if you listening to this video right now, you're on that journey of learning, and it can be arts or anything else really, then I say congratulations. Whether you're just getting started or you're years into it, just congrats on your success and taking that step. Because, the vast majority of the world couldn't bother to challenge themselves like that, but you did. And if you are out there and you haven't taken on that challenge yet, I encourage you to do so, because it's definitely worth it. Anyway, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I upload more videos. And if you like to help the algorithm and to chat with me, then comment below, what is the last thing you taught yourself how to do? It doesn't matter how big or small it is, or if you're still teaching yourself how to do it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.